Henry and the Kite Dragon by Bruce Hall. My name is Henry Chu. I am 8 years old. I live in a place called Chinatown in New York City. Chinatown is very small, pretty much just three tiny streets, all narrow and crooked, like a village in China would be. Doyer Street is the littlest and crookedest street in Chinatown. It has a place to buy little dumplings to have with our tea. I like the ones with shrimp. My friend Thelma Fung likes the ones with the sweet roast pork. Mott Street is where my family lives. Our building is the tallest of all. From one side, you can see all the way down to Pell Street, and on the other, you can look right down into the other neighborhood. It's called Little Italy. In Chinatown, New York, there are lots of things to do for fun. You can buy sweet pickled onions from Mrs. Lee's stand for 2 cents each. You can watch Mr. Ang sort mail at the littlest post office in New York. It's only 8 feet wide. Favorite thing to do in Chinatown, more favorite than anything, is fly kites. And on the top floor of my building lives a man who makes the best kites of all. The best kites in the whole wide world. His name is Mr. Chin, but we kids call him Grandfather. It's a sign of respect for his age. When he was a kid in China, everyone made kites. But his kites were the biggest and prettiest, flew the highest, and always won first place in all the contests. He is little and old now, and he always wears a sweater with holes and worn-out brown slippers. But he still likes to climb the stairs to the roof and fly one of his famous kites, shaped like a butterfly or caterpillar, or his specialty, a big, beautiful dragon. My friend Thelma Fung and I get to help Grandfather Chin make them. One time we made a butterfly from broken up packaging crates. The body was made from cardboard. We used the big box of rice paste that Grandfather Chin boiled on the stove to stick on sheets of newspaper to make wings. Grandfather Chin painted on bright orange stripes and deep purple spots and glued on glittery gold foil and blue polka dots. Thelma Fung and I thought it was the best, most wonderful butterfly we've ever seen. Up on the roof, it was a perfect kite flying day. A brisk breeze, not too cold, and sunshine broken up by clouds skipping across the sky. But Grandfather Chin was not only a kite maker, he was a great kite flyer. Slowly, he let the butterfly rise up and out and over until it caught the wind and just took off. He made the butterfly do swoops. He made the butterfly do swirls. He made it do loop-de-loops and reverse curls. Our butterfly seemed alive. A pigeon flew by, and in a flash, Grandfather Chin made the kite chase the little bird, as if our big, beautiful butterfly were going to eat him up. The pigeon flew away as fast as his wings could carry him. Our new friend, the butterfly, sailed over the building behind us and paused over the park in Little Italy, a block away. But then something happened. A kid named Tony Guglioni saw our kite. Whiz! A rock flew by our beautiful butterfly. Whoosh! Zing! 2 more went by, one of them just nicking the wing. Then, smash! Crash! Rip! A whole hail of rocks and pebbles tore through the butterfly's wings. Trembling as if in pain, the beautiful butterfly sank slowly to the ground, right into the park. Tony and his friends tore the kite to bits. They ripped it and stomped on it and shook their fists. Tony always made trouble for us Chinese kids, and that's why we never went into the park when he and his friends were there. Grandfather Chin just watched, never uttering a word. Finally, he turned to Thelma Fung and me. Well, we'll just have to go and make another one, he said. Next day, we 3 made a caterpillar kite. It was long and sleek, painted bright yellow with red spots, and had a face that made it look like it was surprised to be flying in the clouds at the end of a string. The sky was overcast, and there was a smell of rain in the air. Grandfather Chin made the caterpillar chase its own tail. He made it wave like the ocean. He made it squiggle and spiral. This time, 2 pigeons appeared, and Grandfather Chin sent the giant caterpillar racing after them. They were terrified and shot away from the kite. But then it happened again. Whoosh went a rock, zing went another. Then Tony Guglioni tied a long string to the stone and threw it right over the caterpillar's string, like a lasso. Now Tony and his friends reeled in our beautiful caterpillar, and once again our kite was stomped to pieces. Let's go beat them up, I shouted. Let's get all our friends and go down there and fight him. But Grandfather Chin just shook his face. He said, I have a better idea. But yes, get all of your friends. Oh good, I thought. Tony and his friends will leave us alone once and for all. Soon all our Chinatown buddies were climbing the stairs to Grandfather Chin's apartment. Edward Singh, Francis Eng, Walter Hom, Constance Ling, and others. But when we got there, we couldn't believe our eyes. Pots of paste boiled on the stove, old wooden crates were everywhere, and so were stacks of colorful rice paper. Come on, Grandfather Chin said. We have a kite to make. Make a kite. After all, it was Grandfather Chin. So we rolled up our sleigh. The next day's kite was a dragon. It was huge, stretching from one end of the kitchen to the other and back again. Who knew how long it was? It was covered in dazzling red rice paper and had 2 6-foot-long streamers for a tail. They were made of gold rice paper. At last, the dragon kite was ready. It was so long it took all of us to carry it to the roof. This kite is so big and beautiful that they wouldn't dare throw rocks at it, Grandfather Chin said. Everyone respects dragons. You'll see. There was another pigeon flying around, just one lonely bird all by himself. We wanted the kite to chase it, but before we could even get the dragon in the air, Tony and his friends started throwing rocks again. That's when I got really mad. Come on, I shouted, and led all my friends down 8 flights of stairs and onto the street, leaving Grandfather Chin and the giant dragon kite on the roof alone. Wait, Grandfather Chin called after us. Where are you going? But we kids just kept on walking, right down Mott Street, making a right turn at the Catholic Church, and marching one short down block into the park where Tony and his friends were waiting. Chinese kids never went to the park when Tony Guglielmi was there, but we did that day. At first, Tony and his friends just stood there with their mouths open. There was silence for a moment. Then Tony spoke. Ching Chong Chinaman, Tony Guglielmi jeered. Stop it, I yelled. Tony, goo-goo eyes. He was stunned. Get out of our park, he finally stuttered. No, you get out. No, you! You! We were here first. We were all lined up, breathing hard, ready to start swinging, when all of a sudden the sky went dark. A big splash of color seemed to stretch across the large sky. It was so big, it blotted out the sun like a giant cloud. Grandfather Chin had launched the dragon by himself. For a moment, everyone in the park was quiet as the gigantic creature hung in the air above our building. And then it started to dance. It made a slow curve. Everyone said, ooh. Then it made a large swing. Everyone said, ah. Then the pigeon flew by. The dragon darted after the little bird, as if it were going to swallow it up in one bite. Stop it, Tony screamed. That's my pigeon. Huh? We all said, your pigeon? What are you talking about? That's when I began to understand. In Little Italy, they kept pet pigeons, homing pigeons, that were specifically trained to come home. He told me how our kites sometimes made them fly away and never come back. And that pigeon is my favorite, he said. Make that dragon leave my pigeon alone. Then the great big Tony Guglielmi started to cry. I didn't know what to say. Thelma Fung didn't know what to say. Edward Singh, Francis Eng, Constance Ling didn't know what to say. We all just stood there, too surprised to move. And then I got an idea. Grandfather Chin, stop, I shouted onto the rooftop. Francis Eng, Walter Hom, and Constance Ling joined in. Then even Tony and his friends started shouting, Grandfather, what's his name? Grandfather Chin, stop! All of a sudden, we started running up the hill to Mott Street. The Chinese kids, Tony Guglielmi and his friends, everybody, running and shouting, Grandfather Chin, stop! Stop! We ran right up to our building, dashed through the door and up the stairs, still shouting, Grandfather Chin, stop! Stop! By the time we got there, we were all out of breath. Grandfather, stop. Pigeon, pet, Tony's, please. Oh. Grandfather Chin just looked at me. Then he looked at Tony. Then he looked at my friends and Tony's friends. Finally he said, Are you all crazy? When we told him about Tony's pet bird, Grandfather immediately reeled in the big beautiful dragon. My friends and I watched the poor frightened pigeon make a couple of big graceful circles and flew off to a cage we could see on the roof of a building a couple of blocks away. Everyone let out a sigh of relief, and then, for the first time, Tony took a good, hard look at her dragon kite. "Where did you buy it?" he asked. We laughed and told him about how we made kites out of packing crates and rice paper, and how Grandfather Chin painted on the faces. "I guess I'm sorry we threw rocks at them," he paused. "It was our pet birds we were worried about." We Chinese kids were sorry too, and we said so one by one. Then we had another idea. From that day on, the Chinese kids fly kites in the mornings. The Italian kids fly their birds in the afternoons. The really great thing about this is now we can admire their birds, and they can admire our kites. And everyone can go to the park whenever they want. The next kite Grandfather Chin made was a brand new specialty. It was big. It was all shiny and shimmery. The kite he made was a giant pigeon. And now, when the kids in the park say it, all they say is, "Ooh."